Gonna do the things and talk all things Jada, Simbadicki, Majorette, all the fun stuff. We're gonna count by tens and have a great show. All right, here you go. And where'd he go? There's my patrons. Is that the latest one? It's not the latest one. Oh, there it is. All right, cool. In 3, 2.
You're watching Diecast Breakdown with Chuck Ellis, David Johns, and Mark McHotwheel. So sit back, strap in, and hang on. The breakdown starts now.
Well, hey there, folks. Chuck here, and welcome to Diecast Breakdown. I am so glad you're here, and I am especially grateful to our patrons that make this show go, especially the executive producer level patrons. I still wish I hadn't given it a tongue twister of a name like executive producer level patron, but someday, 120 episodes in, I will eventually figure this out. They are First and 64th Customs, Dane Self, DJI Web. New patrons. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
DrivenDreams.org. Thank you, Mark. Elevation Diecast Racing, Jason J. Goldenberg, Lewis, Big Lou Tanahara. That's a familiar name. Mad Visions, Reviews Through Another Lens, TWYCE Diecast. Thank you, David. And Video Geek Productions. If you want to learn how you can join the ranks, you can visit diecastbreakdown.com, or you can buy our merch. You can support drivendreams.org. You can follow us on various social medias, and you can find the audio format of this podcast. And hey, if you're listening on the audio format, did you know you can see our faces? It's true. I don't know why you'd want it, but you can.
Yeah,
but
if you want
we're
to.
also showing off some really cool cars. So go check us out on YouTube and catch us live on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook Live when we feel like doing a live episode, which is about once a month right now. Well, when I say us, I mean more than just me and the mouse in my pocket. I'm talking about my co-hosts, my colleagues, my friends, and unfortunately not my neighbors. Mr. David Johns of TWYCE Diecast. David, how the heck are you today?
I'm good. Chuck, let's talk after the show about that mouse in your pocket.
Okay. My therapist says we're doing great. And Mark Berenson over there at Auto Peak Detailing /Driven Dream /Dotsaman Diecast. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing, Chuck?
Get any more heads for all those hats you're wearing, man?
Yeah, there's always something. Yeah, it's busy around here.
All right. Well, I appreciate you both being here, and I am especially grateful for our guest.
How are you doing, Chuck?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. No one ever asks, Mark.
I always ask, pretty much.
You always ask. It's true. Well, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about some amazing miniature vehicles and another amazing return from one of our favorite guests, Mr. Darryl Li of Jada Toys. Darryl, thank you so much for joining us yet again on Diecast Breakdown. Great to have you back.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thank you guys for having me back. Always a pleasure to come on and chat cool cars, cool projects, and new product.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the last time we talked, we were at Diecast Supercon earlier in the year in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. And you guys kind of took the show by storm. You had a great booth. You had a great product reveal. You had a few hiccups, but you pulled that off and made it into this kind of mystique thing, which was pretty cool. And we had the launch of, the announcement of some really new, cool vehicles. And we're going to get an update on some of those. But before we do that, tell me what you've been up to the last couple of months. I know you guys have been all over the place. You had some big events going on.
What haven't we been up to? Honestly, is the question, With a lot of people that are in the toy industry or follow the toy industry closely, and it's no secret that we work, well in a year, well in advance. So already finalizing what development plans look like for 2026, even sprinkling into 2027. So we're staying busy. But what the last couple of months have looked like for us, following Supercon, have been more meetings with our retail partners, with our licensing partners. We've participated in a few events, namely our annual event, which we call Homecoming, here out in Orange County, which is a gathering of Southern California's hottest rides and a true celebration of car culture. And shortly after that, actually recently, we participated in Fuel Fest LA, where we were the title sponsor for that event. Cody Walker is a great friend of ours, and the folks at Fuel Fest, the rest of the team there, we vibe with really well. So with it being mostly a Fast and Furious related show, we thought it only makes the most sense for us to be there, show our support. And so that was a great event, and we're already gearing up for the next one with San Diego Comic-Con right around the corner.
Yeah, you got any exclusives coming out there at Comic-Con that we should know about?
Yeah, we got a few exclusives. This is where I do the shameless plug and follow our socials at Jada Toys on Instagram. And you may or may
Yes,
not
sir.
have the opportunity to catch what our exclusives are going to be, but we're also going to be hosting a panel on July 24th at 3 p.m. where we will be making a new announcement on a few things, new releases. So don't want to miss that. That's all I can say.
Yep. Make sure you're following everything to catch the news and the sneak peeks and
Yeah,
sleep on that.
exactly.
So, Darryl, I have been every day I'm checking the Instagram for Jada Toys, and there's
There you
always
go.
something going on. Like Chuck talked about, we had Fuel Fest, we had Homecoming, and man, I really love seeing your presence out there because it's not like a Jada event. This is more like, hey, if you love cars, come out here where we love cars. We're going to be there too, but we're here for the cars. Did you have any interactions that I don't know, maybe just stuck out with like either a collector or a car enthusiast that kind of fueled that passion of why you guys are so involved in the car community?
That's a great question. For me personally, I think there's nothing cooler than having that one-on-one face-to-face interaction with fans of the brand, whether that's through, one of the real cars that we have or through the product that we create. Right. I always kind of look at them separately. And of course you have, the converging people in the middle that kind of are car enthusiasts, but also diecast collectors. But again, back to the point, there's nothing more rewarding than, getting to know somebody and then hearing like, oh, I've been following the brand for X amount of years. And actually I've been collecting since I was a kid. I have this car from this brand. That's always super cool. But the other component to that is maybe they weren't as aware of the Jada brand itself, but they had a big time muscle car on the shelf, or they had a Just Trucks car on the shelf, right? And it wasn't until they saw us at said event that they really connected the dots, and they're like, "Oh, this is the company that makes that car that I have on the shelf. That's Jada." So it kind of goes, both ways. And like I said, it's always really cool to be able to have that 5-minute conversation on the side and get to know somebody and also introduce yourself and kind of just go down this rabbit hole of either A, how they got into collecting, or B, how they got into cars. So it's fun all around.
Yeah.
Darryl, kind of like piggybacking off that, have you guys talked to, like, do you have a story about the most nuts collector that you guys have ever run into, like that has the largest collection, somebody that's just kind of like off the charts, because they're out there for every brand,
Listen, the guy that I'm about to bring up is a friend that not only of us, but a friend of the community. So I'm sure the name is very well known. The first person that comes to my mind is Andy Goodman.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
His Jada collection, from what we've seen from pictures, is quite literally the most insane thing that I've seen. And I'm talking like rooms full of just shelves and display cases everywhere. I mean, I'm talking this guy has old Jada product that we don't even have ourselves anymore.
Right.
Like way back in the day, like when we're trying to reference something like an older brand or like an
give him a
older
call.
style vehicle. Yeah, like he has all of that stuff. So
that's pretty amazing.
And he has a lot of like limited edition stuff too. And I'm just like, I don't know how you got that, but
you're not supposed to have that. How did you get there? Like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, so that's beyond me.
Truck.
Like that's one collection that really blew me away. But aside from that, we had a standout person actually at this last Supercon out in Vegas, husband and wife couple. They came up to us from like, I say day 0, which was setup day.
Yeah.
And they were just so complimentary. Like, oh, we're so excited that you're here. I'm such a big fan of pink slips, specifically the 1/18 scale. I have all of them and I'm trying to stay on top of the new releases, all of that stuff. And her husband was an avid Fast and Furious collector. So they were both just, all things Jada. And they would come back to the booth every single day. It was like, that's the kind of stuff where, obviously our team is there and we notice. And Supercon, relatively speaking, is still a growing show. So you remember faces very easily.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, that was just such a authentic, genuine, and memorable connection, with a super fan that, obviously, with me talking about it, like we just don't forget,
Back with more Diecast Breakdown after this word from our sponsors. Legendary Hollywood concept artist and designer Fireball Tim Lawrence has created 3 exclusive pieces of automotive art based on the 3 hosts of Diecast Breakdown. Get these and other brilliant designs printed on mugs and more at fireballtimgarage.art today.
Cast Heads Magazine is a digital publication dedicated to enhancing the lives of collectors all across the world by providing information on new models, reviews on brands and diecast accessories like figures and dioramas, throwing light on customizers, photographers and people who contribute to making the diecast world vibrant. Subscribe to Cast Heads for free and look for collaborations with Diecast Media Network at castheadsmagazine.com.
And now back to Diecast Breakdown.
Yeah, that's like to take their advice is because they've obviously watched you guys, grow and shift and change and do all kinds of stuff. So it must be really cool to hear from the people that are just nuts about it. Yeah, and then also the people that are new too, of course.
Like when people, we alluded to it a little bit earlier in the show. We had a small little snafu at the event regarding our exclusive, which was going to be on the Majorette collection series. But we made the best of it. And, we ended up, as you guys know, giving a few of them away just as, a thank you to the people that did show up and participated in our panel, all of that stuff. And so by the end of the show, she wasn't one of the winners for, during our panel, but we gifted her one just obviously because we're really just so thankful for, her support and all that stuff and just tears of joy. And I'm like, come on, man, when a diecast is able to invoke that kind of emotion, like to me, that's pretty incredible. I'm not a hardcore collector by any means, ironically, even though I work at a toy company.
Yeah.
But I can relate to something that just kind of gives you that emotion. I don't know, man. It was super special. I'm a really sentimental guy. And so I was like, hold it together, man. Just hold it together.
It's okay to cry.
Yeah. So again, super rewarding, very humbling. And those are the best parts about, coming out to these events.
You can't beat that.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. That's really, really cool to hear. That's what it's all about. That's what we do this show, to hear about the collectors out there, all the different, the customizers, all the different aspects of it. So it's really nice to hear that. Yeah.
Chuck.
Awesome. And I think it's funny. I've started talking to some new people recently, and they always ask me, oh, well, Tiny Cars, and they mention the obvious popular names in Tiny Cars. And I've found myself recently being asked to describe Jada. What is Jada? And I always think, like, the first thing that comes to mind for me now is movie vehicles and entertainment and pop culture. And you guys are so plugged into these different franchises, so much more so, I think, than any other diecast brand by far. And, you're doing Ghostbusters, you're doing Jurassic Park, you're doing, of course, Fast and Furious. And I'm seeing, Harry Potter, and I'm seeing various anime, and Mega Man and Scooby-Doo. And, so, when it comes to looking for that next partnership, like what are some of the things that you kind of seek out when it comes to looking at different IPs to partner with?
Is it a cool franchise? Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Are we personal fans of the franchise, and do we see a fit within, the car culture aspect of things? Meaning a certain franchise could have maybe one or two cars that appear in the film, but are we able to strategically say, all right, we want to go after that franchise. We feel like it makes sense, but can we also utilize that car within our own IP brands, right? Just some of the things to consider. But for the most part, as you mentioned, we've been fortunate enough up to this point to be able to lock up a lot of the major properties and brands with the studios. These days a lot of it has to do with nostalgia, so as you mentioned, like Scooby-Doo is a big one. Food mascots of the older cereals that kids grew up with, surprisingly, like really hot and do really well for us. So for example, Chester the Cheetah, we do that in Hollywood Rides, which is our entertainment-based vehicle brand. But we also do Chester the Cheetah in an action figure, right? So you can collect them in both ways. Same can be said about Tony the Tiger, so on and so forth, right? So we've been leaning a little heavier into the nostalgia aspect of things, and it kind of changes by season when we're looking at refreshing and acquiring new properties. Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it just has to make sense for us. It's got a big following and fandom in its own right. And if it's got those two things, then let's go after it.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I asked because I saw you did a Tony the Tiger with like it looks like a Ford F-150 not too long ago, and again, very cool. I think it's neat. But I'm always curious, like how does that start? Do you go to Kellogg's and say, hey, we'd like to do a tie-in, and then you go, because I know you have to get both parties to sign off. Like you can't just go, oh, I'm going to take Tony the Tiger and slap it on a Ford F-150. Like Ford has to sign off on that too, right?
Yeah. So usually what happens is we'll engage with a brand and we will have conversations about, let's say we're going after one brand in particular that we have in mind. We'll initiate the conversation, and then we might find out during those conversations that said brand also has an umbrella of other brands, which we may not have been privy to, but that then, these are other opportunities that opened up to us. And we're like, okay, I think we just unlocked a whole new world here in terms of opportunities and capabilities. I think this could be pretty fun.
Yeah, with licensing and stuff like that, make it easier to use your other stuff.
Yeah, and sometimes that might be put in the licensing agreement,
Okay.
as far as saying, okay, if you guys are going to go with X brand, we would like for you to also do, this brand and that brand, right? So that's typically how it'll unfold. Now, as it goes to the licensor approval side of things, so like going back to Tony the Tiger, for example, with the F-150, obviously he doesn't drive a car, but we work very closely with the brands to make sure that we identify a vehicle that could fit with the character. And then we incorporate the designs that are inspired by the character, right? So for Tony the Tiger, bigger character, thought a truck, was the natural fit there. And then obviously decoed it with his theme and whatnot with frosted flakes, and just have a little bit of creative fun with it.
Sure. Oh, it's
Awesome.
a very cool set.
Hey, Darryl, my favorite takeaway. This is me being honest with you. My favorite takeaway from the entire Vegas experience was the Majorette collection line. I got a 2-part question for you. I want to know if the reception internationally, which I suspect was what you expected, has proven to be the case, that people love this true to scale line. And then I want you to share any news at all, if you can, about maybe what we would expect in the future from this really cool new line and the partnership with Majorette.
Appreciate that. Me personally, I was also very excited about, the collection series coming out of Supercon, since that was a big focus of ours. To answer the first part of your question, to be very honest, we had a feeling of how it was going to be received internationally, because we had showcased the breadth of the line, at Nuremberg Toy Fair and a bunch of other, toy fairs in Asia and whatnot. And we received a general feedback, a positive feedback. So funny enough, the collection series at least wave one has released overseas already. And so people are already starting to get their hands on them. And I've seen a few reviewers and influencers, content creators starting to put out their reviews of them, and they've been largely positive, which is a good sign. You know, it's always a little bit nerve wracking when you, as a company, you're diving into something completely new. Obviously, you want it to take off and be well received. So there are a little bit of nerves there, but so far what we've seen has been great. And so the second part of your question, as far as getting a little bit more in depth as to what could be upcoming, I will say that this collection series line follows a very, let's say, fun marketing beat, right? And I gave you guys the hint at Supercon, but to reiterate, the first wave of vehicles that has been released internationally are 6 vehicles that end in the 5s, the decades of the 50s. So with the first car being the 1955 Chevy Bel Air, followed by the 1965 Shelby GT350, so on and so forth. You get the point. We're picking one car for a decade. That's wave one. And we'll be releasing domestically here in the States, I believe, July 24th at Target.
All right.
Yeah, so we're not that far off, actually. But the fun marketing beat is the subsequent waves are going to be the 6s, then the 7s,
I like it.
8s, 9s, right? So it's a fun little play on the decades.
Yeah, cohesive. Yeah. I like it.
And what makes it creatively fun is we're stuck with one car. We got to pick one car for that decade. And there's certain decades where there's a lot of choices, like the 1965, right? That's just the year of the muscle car. Wow. And if you want to take it into the JDM, Japanese route, when we're looking at the 90s, there's a plethora of them.
Yeah, sure.
And so that's where it gets really, really fun for us as a team when we're sitting down and trying to lock in on one vehicle. But all in all, to conclude, the beauty of this line is that there's truly something for everybody within each wave, right? You have your classic, like the Bel Air. You have your hardcore Porsche enthusiasts. We have the 1975 Porsche 930 Turbo. And for the JDM nuts like myself, we have the NSX, right? Wow. And then for the domestic muscle car guys, we have the Shelby GT350. I mean, and much more. Race cars, we have the Corvette C6R. There's truly something for everybody. And that's the sentiment going forward with all the future releases.
Yeah. All right. And I think those are all pretty iconic cars. So it's not just like you're just picking random cars. They're all very iconic, when it comes to movies and cult followings and stuff like that. All those cars are very, very heavily sought after in real life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you make this lineup, you're an iconic vehicle. That's what I'm picking up on.
Pretty much. We view this brand as a true extension of us in terms of our love for automotive culture, right? As we were talking about a little bit earlier, Hollywood Rides is just a play on Hollywood, right? Involving the big franchises out there and fusing it with pop culture and anime and so on and so forth. That's fun, and that's kind of like a world of imagination and play, let's say, and collecting. But we view this collection series line in partnership with Majorette as a true, authentic love story to the automotive enthusiast.
I like that. Boy, that should be on the packaging. Love story.
There's not enough room
to the automotive community. Yeah. I love it.
Dearest automotive community. Yeah. They're great.
Don't touch that dial. Diecast Breakdown will be right back after these messages. Diecast Breakdown is produced in partnership with TWYCE Diecast and Driven Dreams Org on YouTube. Check out their channels in the video description and subscribe for more epic Diecast content.
Hey, this is Larry Wood.
This is Derek from Honest Diecast.
Hey, this is Chad Reed from Round 2.
This is Mike from Gasland.
The SRT Jovita Show.
This is Champion DJ K.
This is Mad Vision here.
This is Diecast Dude.
And you're watching Diecast Breakdown.
And now, the thrilling conclusion of this week's episode of Diecast Breakdown.
I am very curious though, as much as Jada's in, 118, 124, you got the minis. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is there not currently a 164 that's branded Jada? Is there a reason behind that, or are you just kind of using Majorette to kind of fill in that 164 gap?
A little bit of both. So we've tried our hand in that scale a long time ago, and actually up until the release of this collection series, I want to say this was probably like maybe 10 years ago, we did a 155 scale. That was like the smallest that we did in Diecast, and then obviously discontinued it. So when the opportunity came to partner with our colleagues at Majorette for this collection line, we thought this is the opportunity that we can utilize to enter the 164 game, albeit at a more premium price point, right? Having the two companies work together, I mean, we're under the same family company anyway, and have it as a collaboration project just felt like the right time to be able to do something like this. And we're super ecstatic with how it's going so far, and with how it's well received. And now this is just another thing that we can add to our portfolio and say, now we have true 164 scale. We have 32 scale, 24, 18, so on and so forth. So just makes us a little bit more well-rounded.
Sure. No, I think that's great. It's just interesting because, I mean, as somebody who's in marketing myself, I'm always intrigued by what people think of. Like I said, pop culture is what I think of when I think of Jada. I think of 124. I think of 118. So, it's funny to me, and probably not funny, that 164 did not connect with the Jada collectors, which I think is interesting. So I think it's really cool that you guys have gotten creative and found a way to get into that market and do it with something objectively cool. This collector series is incredible. And you said premium price point, but these things are not nearly as expensive as they might be. We all feel they're very reasonably priced. Can you talk a little bit about the MSRP and what people could expect to see when they find these on the shelves?
Sure. I mean, we're in an interesting time now, let's say.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, we talked about this before, but that was before there were like tariffs being thrown everywhere.
Yes. Yeah. I could give you the pre-tariff price, and it was always going to be $6.99. So at effectively a $7 retail price point, that's hard to beat, man. Like for what you get, here I have it right in front of me, actually. So shameless plug. So I have the I got the Bel Air here in front of me. And so as you can see, if you remember from Supercon, the packaging has been refined. All the cars have been taken care of. It looks great. So for $7, not only do you get a little bit more plussed up packaging, but you get an acrylic display piece. You have the base plate with the name of the vehicle and the year printed on it. And then when you get down to and then when you get the vehicle itself, it's got, some of them have the jewel headlights. You got the true diecast body. It has Majorette's premium suspension, so the cars bounce up and down.
Sweet.
You get the rubber tires. Like it's just all part of the package, and it equates to a great looking piece. And again, for $7 effectively, like that's really hard to beat. So
it is.
We're really proud of that.
I agree. No, that is incredible. I am
Packaging
very much
on
looking
that's
forward to. They're gorgeous. The
crazy.
packaging, like that.
You don't want to open
You showed
it.
that, like that big clear window looks so good. Like that is a great looking package. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. I mean, just
You're right.
yeah. I mean, it looks like that car is just kind of existing in this space. Like, just look at me. Look at all of this air around me. Like, that is a great way to draw your eye into the vehicle and really kind of appreciate the scale, the detail on that kind of thing. So
we also beefed up the actual packaging itself, so it's not as flimsy. And so when it is on the hook, it stays straight.
It doesn't break and off and stuff like that.
Yeah. And so for those that want to buy it and keep it in its packaging. It's super durable. I mean, once you get it in your hand, it feels premium. It feels thick. It's great qualities. Ultimately, it also adds to what our DNA at Jada is in terms of great product at an affordable price point.
Yeah.
No, it's
Nailed it.
fantastic. It's a really interesting time, and we talked about this a little bit with Say when he was on, and the way things have, and again, folks, don't go writing Jada and go, why is this more expensive? They have nothing to do with that. That is set by the retailers. But it's wild because you go into one certain store and the prices were way higher, and there's another major retailer that's very similar to it, and that their prices have barely changed, if they've changed at all. So it's when we ask you this price point thing, it is genuinely a big question mark because it depends on where you're going and what day of the week it is. So it's all over the place. I hope it levels out, but for you guys' sake, if nothing else, because that's got to be a lot of question marks when you're going to market and going, okay, well, there's supposed to be like $6.99, but this person's selling for $8.99, and this person's selling for $14.99, and so I'm hopeful for this industry's sake that levels out. But again, just really, the whole execution on the Majorette collection is just chef's kiss, and I am so excited that we're coming very close to having that available on the pegs. Do you know what retailers we can look for those at?
It'll be available first at Target
Okay.
that week of the 24th, and it will be setting at Walmart, I want to say like later September or October, early October.
Excellent.
Yeah. But we'll
It's just to follow up on that. Is that going to be the first colorway? Is that all that will be there on the 24th? Probably.
Yeah. So
Okay,
it'll be
sorry.
the 6 vehicles in wave 1. For the viewers that are watching, actually, we have it on the back here. So same vehicles that we displayed at Supercon, just a little bit more polished. But shortly after that, we will be releasing wave 2, which, as mentioned a little bit earlier, that's going to be vehicles of the 6. So that's going to be fun. You guys will see some interesting vehicle selections, I would say.
Can't wait.
Speaking of interesting vehicle selections, I wanted to talk briefly about Hyperspec, the Hyperspec line here.
Yeah.
Really cool cars in here. Some of my favorites. We've got the Viper in here with a really cool green. We've got the McLaren with the Gulf livery. We've got this Porsche, what is this, 935, I believe. Beautiful car. And then we've got the stuff that you and I really like. R33, got GTR here, and R32. And then we've got a Mustang as well. I believe those are 1/32nd scale or for these. Do you want to talk a little bit about these? Maybe, I didn't pay attention. Forgive me. Are these out yet, or are these coming out?
Yeah, they're starting to roll out. So
Okay.
those ones specifically that you named are pretty interesting because to the people that have been paying attention and following along with our other brands such as Hyperspec, they will notice. And if they haven't, then I guess I'm just putting it out there. Hyperspec started as a brand that was going to cater specifically to the European, Italian supercars, right? As you would expect from Hyperspec, Lamborghinis, Bugattis, so on and so forth. But as we went developing the line, we started asking ourselves the question of, well, why don't we broaden the theme of Hyperspec a little bit more and maybe just make it everything that's truly about race car and has race car style heritage, right? So once we expanded that, let's say, universe of Hyperspec, that opened up a world of possibilities. So now enter JDM legends like the R33 GTR, like the R32 GTR, infusing it with iconic brands and liveries like Gulf, right? And even the all-new Mustang GTD. I mean, that thing is...
Yep, that thing's beautiful too.
It's an insane race car. And we're like, absolutely, that fits in Hyperspec, right? Why couldn't a Ford GT fit in Hyperspec? So this is a time right now within that brand that's pretty interesting because we're starting to introduce those kinds of vehicles rather than pigeonholing ourselves to one particular kind of look and feel.
Yeah, these are For anyone that hasn't checked them out, I'd recommend going on any one of the sites. But there's some nice photos on Instagram of these. And if you're into European cars, you've got this McLaren and the Porsche, and they're beautiful. And the Porsche's got some real fat wheels in the back, slant nose. And then, of course, if you're a JDM fan, these are beautiful models here. They look really true to scale, how the way the wheels fit in there and everything. And looks like lensed headlights here, jeweled.
But of course,
yeah. So yeah, it's a really nice lineup. I'm into 164th, as you know, Chuck and David know, but got to check these ones out for sure, especially these JDM ones and the Porsche too. That thing's beautiful. So
yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So nice work on that for sure.
Hey, Darryl, Mark went bigger than 164. I'd like to go smaller. There's a lot of really cool nanos. Like, we don't need another flipping scale to start catching our eye. What excites you about this nano line? Man, these things are looking really, really cool. And the new ones that are coming out are absolute heat. Talk about what is going on with the nanos.
What's not going on with the nanos?
Exactly.
And thank you for bringing that up, honestly. Like when we were talking about it a little bit earlier with the scale to start at 64, it just like slipped my mind. Oh, wait, we have something smaller.
You got the whole thing covered.
Lots of
the nanos are great. To be very honest, I'm quite surprised at the reaction that we've been getting with them, specifically for the Fast and Furious nano vehicles. What we started to do, as of late, was incorporating the nanos into blind bags. And so we started rolling out Fast and Furious nano vehicle blind bags. And those, before, this whole tariff craziness was going down, those were just flying off the shelves. We couldn't believe it. And we didn't really understand why, because we have different iterations of the nano vehicles, as you mentioned. Not only do we have the blind pack, but we also have what we call our nano scenes, which are essentially dioramas of moments in time of iconic movies that come with the vehicles. But we also have multi-packs for just our different vehicles, right? So at the end of the day, that size is just fun. For how small they are, you get what I think is pretty incredible detail. They roll great. Like, they don't get stuck. And they just display well, especially within a nano scene. I don't know. There's a magic to them, because I feel like, for me personally, like, we're fascinated with small miniature things, especially when they're in the form of collectibles. I'm assuming that's also a reason why a lot of people gravitate towards the 64 scale. But I also know a consideration for collectors is space. And so when you're talking about the nano size, it doesn't get much smaller than that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now, someday you might actually come out with nano ones where you have to bring the microscope to the store and
nanos.
And hang them on a little nano
ultra
peg.
nano.
That would be insane. We're starting to incorporate some like deco execution on our 124 scale that requires a microscope, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, tough to see.
We just put up for pre-order, on our jadanextlevel.com site, a Liberty Walk Corvette C8 that was modeled after a real car from a local shop not too far from us. And actually, on the fender of the Corvette, of the real car, it's got a little like caution sticker, and it reads 30 psi. So the theme of the car is inspired by a jet fighter. So it's got like this gray airbrush effect, and it's got a lot of the hazard caution stickers, right? So again, as mentioned, the real car has a sticker that reads 30 psi. Well, we were able to incorporate that sticker on the 124 scale. And you can imagine, from a real car, if that small sticker is visible,
tiny
scale, that thing is really, really tiny. And so when we got the sample in and we noticed that sticker there, we put our iPhone cameras on it and just zoomed in like X. It does read 30 psi. So
get out of here. Wow.
Yeah. Just small things like that. So yeah. So, I mean, microscope for not just nano vehicles, but pretty soon some other deco executions in 124 scale.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
I've been savoring the Nanos because I didn't want to gush immediately on that one, but I love them. I'm eagerly await finding the Ghostbusters and Jurassic Park one. I haven't ordered them in a while, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit more of the Nanos. Obviously, Fast and Furious has the bulk of the Nano vehicles that we do, but we also have them with Transformers, as you mentioned, with Ghostbusters, with the Ecto One. Back to the Future is a big one. Jurassic. Yeah, that universe is expanding very rapidly, and it's fitting because as we have Hollywood rides in 124 and 132 scale, the Nano scenes and the Nano vehicles just kind of lend themselves to kind of branch off of that, right? So that goes to your point earlier with us being the dominant powerhouse in all things entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a fantastic setup, and like David said, it's I had when I got deep into this hobby was like, that's it. I'm only doing 164. I'm not breaking the rules. I'm holding fast. And then the Nanos came along. And I was like, oh,
Daryl
things
said,
are
"Hold
just
my,
so
hold
cool."
my
Nanos,
beer. Hold
Yeah,
my
it's like-
beer."
Yeah. So yeah, I've got all the Fast and the Furious ones. I've got the Back to the Future one. And like I said, I'm going to be grabbing those Jurassic Parks and the Ecto one with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I've seen the pictures of that one. That one looks so cool. And yeah, so I'm just like,
Wow.
again, I tip my hat to the Jada design team.
Appreciate it. No, they crush it. Absolutely, they crush it. The Nano scenes are no small feat. I know from a development perspective, they are difficult and time consuming. So our development team absolutely crushes that. And sorry to break the bad news to you, but we do have more Fast and Furious Nano scenes coming.
No.
Bring them on.
Well,
Bring
you
'em
got
on.
you got room. You'll make room.
Yeah, I know. Well, and it's funny because you say, they're small and but these are not, like, when people look at them, like, they're bigger than they look. Like the boxes, like, they fold out. You've got some depth to them. Like, you get Dom Toretto's house, you've got like his full yard, and you got the shed in the back, and you got a little bit of the street out front. And they're fantastic. The train one really surprised me because I was like, okay, well, it's going to be like the little thing with the train and the cars, and it's like it's spread out. Like, you got a big chunk of the road there. It's really cool if you want to do a more of it, like turn it into a street scene and fit your other Fast and Furious Nanos on, because you got the 3-packs too that you can get, and those are fantastic. And then I think I saw a 6-pack a 6-pack now at the big box stores, which is very cool. So and they are, again, great representations of the vehicles from that franchise. So highly recommend those.
And like you said, it's just it's another addition in our portfolio as far as being able to offer something for everybody, right? So if you're a fan, let's say if you're a fan of Fast, well, we have it in Nano, we have it in 32, we have it in 24, we had it 18, might or may not be bringing it back in 118.
There you go.
We might even go bigger than that.
Ooh.
So you're saying there's still hope?
Yep.
I want to ask Daryl. I want to ask about another line that, because I see the number release that you're on, you guys have got to be thrilled with pink slips. We've got pink slips in 118 about to drop. We got pink slips in 164 about to drop, and we're up to like wave 9, I think, in 164. This has been a monster hit for Jada, right?
Yeah. I mean, that brand on its own carried us last year. We couldn't believe the reception, that it had, like, right out of the gate. When we first released it, obviously our sales team does a great job at tracking the performance of brands, especially when they roll out. And when we were tracking the first week, then second week, third week, we were like, wow, this is strong. There's something here. And it didn't take us long to, be nimble and adjust on the fly. And the key to success at retail is freshness. And so we have to constantly be putting out something new. Well, when we saw the positive performance of this brand, we were like, oh, we got to keep feeding this. And so pretty quickly it turned into a brand of ours that we just kept feeding with, either new castings or redecos of a vehicle, just to make sure that there was a wave out at retail every month and a half to 2 months, something that we don't usually do for any of our other core brands, right? We don't usually refresh it to that extent. And so at the end of the day, looking back on it now, it was really kind of a proof of concept for us in terms of like longevity of a brand and being able to push something out, in a timely manner, and just kind of feeding into and understanding what the collectors want. And it's the ability to have a reason to go out and hunt, for one, and get excited about, this upcoming vehicles that we're going to be releasing in future waves, because we always put it on the back of the packaging, or we'll do a social media call out, all of that stuff. And I think Pink Slips really represents a line in which we were able to not only have fun with, creatively decoing a bunch of vehicles in a very short amount of time, but also pulling, the community feedback of like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? What does Pink Slips mean to you? What does Pink Slips mean to us? Right. Across all scales, 64, 32, 24, 18, and even RC now, that brand has been stellar, and we couldn't be more proud of it, and more things to come within that brand.
Just gonna piggyback off that. I was looking earlier. I was looking at the 118th with you got the RWB, the Liberty Walk, and the GT40, and those are amazing. Like I said, makes me want to buy the bigger stuff, because I normally don't. But iconic cars right there, amazing.
And the detail on them are pretty great too, I will say. Like, we have a little bit of liberty within the different scales. So specifically for the 18 scale, we're starting to introduce more race cars, So like the GT40,
yep.
The wave after that one actually has a Ford Mustang Code Red, right? Which is a factory race car that Ford built specifically for the Mustang. But also in that same wave, we have the Porsche 935 race car. So, and the RSR. So we're starting to incorporate more of that kind of stuff into the bigger scales. Really kind of seeing what people. Yeah, and it's been great learnings for us, right? Because it's understanding what the community wants to see, what they're into, and it's something a little bit different.
Nice work.
All right, awesome. So, Darryl, as we're kind of starting to wrap things up here, one of the questions I'm always curious about with brands when we have them on is like, if there was one thing that you really wished you could get out to people that you think they don't know about Jada, what is it? Like, if you could just get into their minds and say, hey, there's a perception here that we're this and we're actually that, or I wish people knew we had this instead of that. What is that one thing that you really wish you could tap into to communicate to people?
That if it's along the lines of, people wish we had this or that, or anything like that. But for me, what I always go back to as a core value, and I think what truly makes Jada special and also separates us from a lot of the other companies out there, is even though we're growing, which is always a good thing for business, it's what we want, obviously, we never really lose sight of our true core principles and values as a company and what our foundation is. And because we started and we remain to this day a family-owned company, that personal touch, I think, goes a very long way, and it translates into the passion and enthusiasm that we put into our product. It translates into the way we communicate and interact with the people that we meet at the shows and the events, or even having opportunities to be able to connect with you guys on this podcast, right? I think the sense that you get when you speak to everybody on our team, not only myself, but say Mike and anybody else on the development, marketing, licensing team, like they invoke the same feeling. And when we're all working with each other internally, certainly it's not always rainbows and sunshine, but that's any family dynamic, right? There's going to be sometimes a struggle, but ultimately we still carry forward and communicate with each other and interact with each other on a very fun, personal level. And I think ultimately that translates to the final end of the product. And we stand by, everything that we roll out. We're true collectors and enthusiasts internally. And at the end of the day, we just want to have fun with it, man. I think that's the name of the game. We all love collecting something. We all have a passion for something. And it's really just kind of embracing that inner child. All of that ties back to this family value that we have. And it feels really personal for us. And we hope that we're able to give that personal feeling back to, the fans and the community. And I would say that's the biggest differentiating factor with us.
Love
Yeah,
it.
well said.
Well said indeed. Before we wrap up too much, you got anything cool in your garage since we last talked? Weren't you rocking an R35 last I checked?
Still am. Yeah.
Still am. All right.
Yeah. That's the crown jewel.
Hey, you're at the top. Why change? So yeah.
I mean, that's the car that we roll out to Cars and Coffee, any shows and things like that. So that car's set to make an appearance this weekend at a few events also. Personally, I don't see myself letting go of that car anytime soon. So yeah. Some stability in my life. I need that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Don't we all?
Mark's looking to turn his into an R33.
Yeah.
Last I checked. Yeah.
All right. You're still staying within the GTR family?
Yeah. I'll be probably changing over to a 33 GTR, big single turbo Haltech standalone, all the fun goodies.
Hey man, you can't go wrong with that, man. R32, R33, R34. Something about those.
I'd like the 33. One of my favorites, the 400R, is one of my all-time favorites. So I'll probably be doing like a 400R body kit on it. I can't afford a 400R. I think I don't know what the last one went for price-wise, but it was probably
over $1 million.
Yeah, over $1 million for it's a iconic race car, But,
well, I'll give you guys a hint since we're on this and we're about to wrap up.
We won't tell anybody.
400R may or may not be making its way into collection.
There you go. Awesome.
That'd be nice.
You may or may not have heard it here first.
Yep.
But you gotta make sure you follow those Jada socials, because the news is changing fast and furious, if you don't mind me saying so. And
too easy, Ellis.
Too easy. And you guys are crushing it on the internet game, the digital game. You guys are doing it, I think, better than just about anybody else. So we're excited for you. We're excited for this whole thing with the Majorette and Jada whole meshing together, and the Simbadiki, whatever this is, that
one
is
big family tree.
One big family tree, doing amazing stuff all over the world with all kinds of cool cars that everybody can enjoy. There's a diecast car for everyone, and Jada probably makes it.
Go see him at Comic-Con, folks.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, we'd love to. Yeah, we'd love to see you guys.
I'm loving this.
One of these days, it would be great for us to make it down to like Fuel Fest or
absolutely
Homecoming or something like that. That would be
do a live episode from there.
Really nice.
Let me know. We'll take care of you guys.
All right.
Yeah,
awesome.
So maybe this next year,
we're gonna manifest that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Well, thanks, Darryl. I appreciate you being here. As always, you're always welcome to come back, and we're excited for what's ahead for the whole Jada family and all you guys. We wish you nothing but the best. So thank you again for your time. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.
All right. Well, thank you, Darryl. And thank you, watchers, listeners, wherever you are, for making it to the end of another episode of Diecast Breakdown. If you made it all the way to the end, leave a little comment and let us know that you're part of the closed down crew. You're our favorites, except for the people that give us money. But usually it's the same people. So thank you for making it to the end. While you're down there leaving your comment, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, share the episode if you like it. If you like Jada, if you just love tiny cars, share the episode, please. It's a great way to introduce other people to the
Chuck.
For the love of Chuck, people, for Chuck and A. Let's just share the episodes. That's how we grow this show. If you're watching us on YouTube, share it to your favorite social channels. If you're listening to us on the audio format, hit the little 5-star button. That really helps other people find the show. And of course, make sure you're checking out drivendreams.org, where we're raising 25,000 cars for kids in need all over the world. drivendreams.org. You can get there and be a hero to some kid in need. One car equals one smile, as I heard somewhere once or twice. So once or twice diecast. And, check that out. It's a great cause, and we're excited to see what we can do this year to make some kids happy all over the world. You don't have to write a check. You don't have to lick a stamp. You just have to believe in your heart and have a couple bucks on you. But that's it for this episode, and as always, we want to thank you for coming along with us for the ride. So until next time, stay fresh, cheesebag.
Thanks for listening to Diecast Breakdown. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend to listen in. Find Diecast Breakdown on your favorite social media platforms or visit diecastmedianetwork.com to learn more about this and our other projects. Diecast Breakdown is a presentation of Flying Valiant and the Diecast Media Network.